Okay, welcome together, and let's start with a funny presentation. This is a switch and it has a spare connection there. So here we have already the picture of the front panel of the charging station. What I found is a network computer inside. I already found here something interesting, some kind of log file. It is called authorization cache. This looks like that we have now the IDs that we need for the charging card. I have a valid user ID that I can use now, smart card emulator, and it's emulating anyhow NFC cards. So I connect it to my computer. I just put my card in front of it, and I have now to say to the charging station, okay, I want now power. So yeah, that's the funny side of my job. I get free refills and free energy for that. And yeah, that was only a short teaser about some research that we did on charging stations. And today I'm telling about the security issues that we found there and explaining a little bit about how charging stations are working, how it is connected to the electrical grid, and some kind of other things. So yeah, we will start with a little bit of the EV infrastructure, about the electromobility. So the electromobility is a very huge market because the market growth is exponentially and fast evolving. So and the key challenges is to have a user satisfaction about that. So charging must be as easy as refueling your car, for example. That was one of the main sentences. So I have also a few statistics about that. So the acceptance is it's a little bit low currently. So you see on the left chart how many electrical vehicles we have here in Germany, and on the right you see how many electrical vehicles came each quarter in the last years. So you see there is a high spike, for example, in October to December last year. That was because of the higher support from the governmental, that you get more cash when you buy an electrical vehicle. So that dropped with beginning of this year, and that's also that you can see the numbers are decreasing. So in October last year, we had for around 300,000 electrical vehicles per month. Per quarter, so not per month. So the thing is, we have currently around 2 million electrical vehicles, hybrid and full electrical, battery electrical vehicles. So the key challenge of the government is from Germany that they want to have 15 million electrical vehicles by end of 2030. So that means that we need around 1.5 million electrical cars each year. What means that we at least have to have around 150, 160,000 per month. And when you look at the charts, you will see we cannot fulfill that. But that's only on the car side. But on the other side, you also need charging stations for that. So that's why it must be as easy as possible as refueling your car. So just go to the charging station, plug in the plug, show your payment card or a mobile phone or whatever payment system you use, and then that's it. Currently, we have around 70,000 normal charging points. A charging point is not a charging station. Each charging station can have multiple charging points, just around the numbers that you need. So when you look at the March 23 number here, we have when all charging stations at the same time are charging, a number of 2.6 gigawatt electrical energy that is consumed then to the grid. 2.6 gigawatt is around two of the old nuclear power plants that were shut down in December. So when we look then, we need 15 million electrical cars, how the number of electrical current is rising in that point. But yeah, so this is where I live. And here you can see this is a chart map about where the electrical charging points are. So as you see, the arrow where I live, there's nothing around. So a normal refueling station, gasoline station, I have it in 2 kilometers, 2 kilometers away. So the charging stations are not public available. I have to drive already around 10 kilometers to get there. So that's, just the one thing, the one side of the story. But coming now to the main point and the main topics. So let's start with the open charging protocol. So the OCPP is the open charging point protocol that's used mostly for how the charging station is working and how it is communicating with your electrical vehicle. As you can see here, there's a backend system called the charging station management system that's communicating with your charging station and the back end. The charging station is communicating with your car. We will see it in a couple of slides later, how it is in a diagram working. Most of the things are done in an HTTP-like protocol, and secure web sockets are available. You should focus on the are available. That doesn't mean that it is implemented. A short graphic about that. So you provide your card, you are the local user, the charging point operator is the charging station itself, and then it's communicating with the OCPP and with the OCPI protocol to the backend. But as I already mentioned, one charging station can have multiple charging points. It could be AC, DC, or mixed, high power, low power. So in Germany, we have also some kinds of governmental requirements for that and some laws. So in Germany, we have the Ladesäulenverordnung, the LSV. So that covers all the things like you have the option free usage or cash payment. So I've never seen a cash payment point where I provide some money to the cashier and say, oh, give me 2 kilowatts for my electrical car, I need to go. So the cash payment, never seen. And card payment could be some kind of an RFID card, or you'd use your credit card with that same functionality. The interesting thing is the key date, 1st of July this year. So 1st of July, everything before of 1st of July was implemented. You can use these special charging cards from the electrical grid provider, from the Stadtwerke or whatever. Every charging station that is implemented after this date has only credit card or a debit card payment. Maybe also Apple Wallet is working, I don't know. But so they switched now to these new systems. So the old ones are not there then anymore, but they're still there. So we have seen 70,000 charging stations that we have. This is a little bit more detailed about the techniques that are working there. So just a small block diagram, how it is communicating, the OCCP broker, what kind of things they are using for the message harmonization, visual data flows. And in the back end, it's also then using stuff like MQTT databases and so on that you maybe also have already heard when you use home automation systems at home. A short overview about the protocols that are in place there. So the old CCP protocol is currently the latest version is the 2.01. Okay, I had to switch those two there. It was implemented with a 1.5 version. Then later on there came a newer version, the 1.6. and it was an implementing SOAP and JSON communication for that. And yeah, the charging station also supports a load balancing that you can have. Yeah, let's say you can load balance the charging energy on the charging station, even if you connect it in a mesh for that. And yeah, some additional status information that you also can use, but that's not interesting in that point. So when we compare the three versions that are available there, that are the functionality, so each version is adding a few extra topics at that point. And yeah, the interesting part is you don't see any security feature inside. The latest version has done an extra topic, added security, but it doesn't mean what kind of added security that is. Yeah, in general, it is something like they're using WebSockets, secure WebSockets, or SSL or TLS that you can use then. The interesting part is when the charging station once is in place, there is no need to upgrade to the newer versions of the protocols. So you can say all the charging stations that are out there using the old versions of the OCPP protocol, because they mostly don't upgrade them.
Great.
But yeah, now let's look more inside how is the charging station working, how it look like, and coming to the more electrical part, how the things are working. So here we have a short diagram about how the AC system is working. The next one is about DC, so it's only a little bit different. So on the left side you have the power grid, the AC connection, then the charging station, and then there is a wire connection, the cable that you plug in into the car, the charging station. And then there you have then in the electrical vehicle the AC-DC converter and the battery pack with the battery management system. So that's doing all the stuff in an easy diagram. For DC chargers with higher energy, you have to parallelize that because it's called the XN stack. So you have a couple of these electrical parts parallel to get more energy in the car, and there is also a bypass channel to the battery pack directly. So the charging station can directly communicate with the battery system to do other things. To make it a little bit more complicated, this is the more detailed block diagram, how it is looking like. So if you're an electrician and engineer, you will like that stuff. So that's where I mostly look in. The new things where they are working on is the vehicle-to-grid communication. So vehicle-to-grid means the grid is pumping energy into your car, but the car is also communication via the charging station with the grid and providing the grid the energy for the grid for stabilization, the frequency of the grid, if you have enough of the energy. For example, your battery from the car is fully loaded and the car knows, okay, you have 50 kilometer driving home, so I can provide, let's say, 300 kilometer of my energy, maybe what you have 20 kilowatt hours by 3, so 60 kilowatt hours that I can provide into the grid to stabilize maybe that. So if you do this with, let's say, 100,000 of cars, then it is all it's already a nice battery system for the electrical grid that they can use. So for that, there is then a bidirectional communication needed. And even that is using then the OCPP protocol. Yeah. Coming now to the real weaknesses of that. So as we have seen in the intro video, I was opening that once. Why it was possible to open it? Yeah. So the main points are the housing of the charging station was defined as a secure element. Because of that, the provider decided, so, oh, the housing enclosement is secure because there is a lock on site. Everything else we don't need. So we don't need to harden our IoT devices inside. So we don't need some charging card security because there is nothing. As you see already, someone are laughing. The charging cards that you can get, they're using only the UID of the MyShare card. So everyone can clone it with a Flipper Zero. Or you go to a rental car, rent an electrical vehicle. Sometimes there are charging cards there, and then you clone them and can use it. It's publicly known since 2017. I think on the CCC Congress 34 2 watt, there was a talk about that. So it's nice to look for that. So no encryption, and sometimes you find charging station also on the shoulder, and a couple of more. But yeah, so this was a charging station where I was working on. Yes, as an electrician, you directly will see what is the issue for that, for the physical side. So I built my lockpick set for that because at that day I didn't have my lockpick set with me. So yeah, this picture I've done a little bit later, but on the right it is an, how you name it, spattle. I grinded it a little bit, cut it in a good position so that I can open the lock itself. So on the right you see how the lock is physically working. Yeah, you can practice, I think, in the outside in the lobby also. It's a very easy lock. So you can easily open it with a hook or with a lockpick set because of they are fully manufactured. But that is standard. You maybe have noticed here at the Scandic Hotel there's also a charging station. They have some kind of countermeasure. So here you see an extra tamper-proof seal that they have protected, put in front for that. And there is another charging station here around the corner, I think here. And there you see the seal is not there. So maybe someone has tampered already with that, or they forgot about to put it in place. So why are you using this stuff? So the thing is, why use these security seals? And the main reason is to provide proof of that someone has opened or tampered with that, or entered a door or whatever. That's the main reason to have these things. Next question is then how to bypass them. Yeah, normally you only need the easiest way is to have a soda can, cut a little bit of the metal in a small piece, then wrap it around the cylinder, and then you can show it inside, and then you open it again. Yeah. So the shimming technique, this was 2011 on the Black Hat, where this was shown. So you see the soda can, you cut a piece of it, wrap it around the thing, and then you can pull it inside, and you can open it, release it, and then afterwards you can close it again. So at the Black Hat there's often also, at the DEF CON there is an, how you say it, a tamper-proof village, where you can practice all those things. Very nice. Yeah. In the video, we have already seen that the charging station is open. So this is then the inside look of that. So I removed some covering for electrical protection, and then that you can see, you see already a couple of parts. So the closer look of that, there is an Ethernet switch. So you can connect your computer to it. That was I mainly did also. And that what you see here in the last picture. So I just plugged in my mirror switch to analyze the traffic that's going in between the charging station and the backend system. But there is something more. So at that place where we did the analyze, there was also an external battery. So it was standing outside. Looked like from the size from a 20-foot container from the size, and even there, no really security locks for that. Even there, no physical security and access for remote management, network access, and so on. even there you can open it just with imply, normal electrical lock, and then you have access. There's a picture from the internal network that you can see then. The inside view, also there, you see then remote, 3G modem for that, IP addresses written down, and so on. And even from there, I was able then from the battery management, from the battery system to connect also to the charging station. So here you see a part of the charging station, and one of the nice things is here we have here down an RFID whitelist. So if you know the UID of your of an RFID card, just put in the RFID number in the whitelist, and then you can charge also and then just by accessing the battery. That was just one. Okay, why it is in German? I don't know. I translate it. So the main problem, the housing is not as secure as thought. So the IoT was not secure and so on. So we had the slide already, but the picture were there. After connecting my computer to the network there, to the switch, I looked a little bit around to look what I can talk. So the things that I then found was, we have access to a web page where you can see, I can look on some log files, I can download all the logs, configuration files, and I can upload files also, maybe upload a new firmware version by manipulating them. So what I then did was, there were some kind of log files that had the charging station serial numbers. So they had a cached file for that. So I downloaded the file, used the UID that I found in the log files, put it on a cloning card, checked with my mobile phone, and later on I was then going to the front panel and emulating with my Chameleon Mini the UID of that. So but that is not really that is old school style. But easy access. Once you have access, you can download them. Why it was happening? The cloning of the card. So this is one of the log file that we found there. So when you look then in the log file, you see then in the detail the RFID in decimal and also in hexadecimal. And then, ID tag is accepted, yes or no. It gives you directly a hint. And you see also some other information. So here you see, for example, the battery was at 65%. It was a Nissan Leaf with a 40 kilowatt hours battery. It supports bidirectional communication and so on. And how long it was loading, how much energy was going inside, and so on. And you see here also a beginning Linux reboot process. So there was a Linux system in the backend running on the charging station. That was the ID on my phone then again. And so for testing, I used then a self-built cable. So someone has already done it. You can find a build instruction for that. This is standard type 2 plug for the charging station. And then I have here a normal AC connection where I can, for example, charge my caravan for that. And with the buttons, I just simulate, a car is connected, please give me power or charging stop. That's done by these switches. So here you see it in later. So the electrical vehicle is connected, charge it, and some test functionality also. So with that, I connected an waffle oven and baked some waffles for that. And because of someone paid with his thing. So when we look then more into this, so it was a charging station from EVTech, 4.1 charging station because it's a 4 different things that you can connect. So a couple of them is there was a denial of service also. When I did an Nmap scan on the devices, every time the device rebooted. So why it is rebooting? So crazy. So I looked in a Wireshark logs that I parallel always do to see okay, at which point the package is sent, where then the reboot starting, and then to figure out okay, what kind of flags they are sending, is it too much bytes or whatever, to find the problem in the Ethernet stack of the device. So it figured out that every time when I send a special packet to the point 8192, it then initiates a reboot and releases all the plugs on the EV charging station. So it could maybe also then use, okay, the charging station is full, so I cannot charge my car, so I just eject everything of them and I can connect my one. That is one thing that you can do. The other thing, I've also prepared an extra network packet for that, so that I can do it for testing, that I don't need Nmap for that anymore, so I can just craft my own packet now with that. So the funny thing is then the charging station on the HMI shows then a cup of coffee that is falling down. So oops, yeah. So this was the denial of service thing. Yeah. The other thing was that there is no authentication required on the charging station. So, yeah, as I already mentioned, when you connect to the system, because of you need a key to open it, everything is secure. No authentication is needed. So just plug in, you have access, full access to the network, full access to the computer. You can access as root everything what you want on the machines. So in that case, the log files were there. So there is a special port for that, the port 8888. So why don't use port 80? I don't know. And then in a CGI bin file in public, there is a list of log files. And a couple of log files from there are inside, AC energy meter plug log, for example. And there is also a cached credentials log file for all the charging cards that ever used at the charging point. So I downloaded these log and just extracted all the charging card IDs. So with that list of charging cards, you have a bunch of stable of cloned charging cards that you can use for that. Yeah, that was the second one in that part. So there's also no RTL list on that, so no protection about that is allowed for that. And the authorization cache JSON file, that was the interesting doc. And in that you see then a couple of them, and it looks like this. So this is then the list. It's a couple of entries more long, and then you see all the IDs that are used and which one allowed and which one. So you see invalid or accepted, or invalid, and so on. So from that you can do the clones for your own purpose. But there are a couple of other things from, we have reported them to the vendor, and to this our internal reporting ID, the CVE is just requested. So the CVE number I did not have in the current state, so I'm just waiting for it. So the interesting part is they have MyFair Classic cards, and they can use so much security features from that, but they only using the UID, and that since 6 years already. Even longer. There are then other nice artifacts that you can find. Maybe police investigation. So what kind of information could be also found for forensic investigations when someone is using an electrical vehicle? So currently when you have a crime scene, someone is using a car and trying to go away. Anyhow, they have to refuel the car at a certain point. So maybe you know the cases with bombing the bank ATMs to get the money out of the ATMs. They mostly coming from the Netherlands, going to North Rhine-Westphalia or our area, bombing the ATMs, getting the money out, and then fleeing. So the problem is they're mostly using high motorized cars, and they need fuel for that. Even when the police is after them, they try to chase away. And interesting thing is they have spare canisters with refueling onboard system built in. So they have just a piece of pipe going into the tank that they can refuel the car by driving. The reason is why they don't want to go on a refueling point, because of the cameras that they get filmed by that. But when you have a charging car, you have maybe different informations. We have seen already the picture in the later one. So here we have a BMW i3. The interesting part is here the PEV ID. The PEV ID is a personal electrical vehicle identifier ID. It's somehow the same like a vehicle identifying number on the normal cars. So each car has a VIN number that's unique, and you have it also for electrical vehicles. And the charging station is collecting the electrical vehicle IDs. One thing that not happens is the PEV ID is not submitted to the backend. So the backend provider don't know about which car is refueling, but when you know in which area, then you can maybe collect information about on the charging station and to see, okay, what could it be? Yeah. Next part is open source intelligence. Shodan. I already mentioned, when you look for them, you sometimes find some of them. So here is one, I think the IP is not working yet. So here you see OCTP, service charger, status change, and so on. Yeah. So in the previous slide, we had these broker models, which kind of things are working in between it. So this is one of the brokers that is in between on the web part, and that's responsible for this kind of communication. When you look then at the specific port for that, you can see a couple of things already there. So this is the part where I'm still on working, because I found a couple of them now from different versions. But the interesting things are you have the ability to add, for example, user service accounts. So just add a new user or email verification requests, or in the below I highlighted it, reset the password token request. Also you can interact with the backend because of some of the services are just online, and then maybe create also a valid account with a fake valid account with a fake UID of a charging card, and then you can charge for free. So, but this is still a thing where I'm working on, because it's hard to get on the back-end communication things and details on that, and yeah, that's a little bit tricky. But I found in the morning someone who can help me for that, so we will see maybe in a few months more about that. So this was then now the last slide that I had. I have to say thank you, and if you have questions, feel free.